Hey everybody, welcome to a Tuesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, sitting here with comedians known as Fig and Talent. These guys have been in the comedy game for a long time. They've been in comedy films, comedy specials, comedy TV shows, the comedy tours. They've done everything that you could think of related to comedy. Now they're in something called the sports show that we call the Box Seats. First of all, gentlemen, how are you this morning? How's everything?
You already know.
Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. I'm coming to you live from Buffalo, New York right now. I feel great. I just took my pictures with me, but I'm in a hotel. I'm in a hotel in Buffalo downtown, over here having a few drinks with the offensive lineman.
You know, I just wanted to say one thing. I knew you were going to say that, so I believe it alone. I'll leave it alone. All right, let's get ready to jump into the show. Let's get ready to get the show started. The first thing I got to say to you guys is let's talk about the college football playoffs kicking off this weekend.
Wait. No COVID report?
No, I'm not going to do a COVID report. I'm not doing a COVID report because I don't have enough time. And let me get back to what I was saying. College football playoffs is kicking off this weekend. And because the college football playoffs, there's so many of the college football playoff games, Alabama is playing against Notre Dame. Now, that's one of the biggest money games of the weekend is Alabama versus Notre Dame. And I'm not going to dive too much into college football because of obviously we could do a whole show on college football alone just by itself. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say the Alabama is slightly favored. I'm going with Alabama. Who are you going with, Talent, this weekend? If you had to pick.
I got to go with Alabama. I don't really have a choice where I live at and where I get my hair cut at. If I go in there and I'm not going for Alabama, that's Zeke City. They're going to Zeke me up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm Alabama this week.
How about you, Vic? Who you going with?
You know, man, Alabama has been kicking behind for the longest. Saban does some of the best recruiting in the whole college arena. So, it got to go with. If I had to put money on it,
yeah.
I got to go with Old Faithful, Alabama, baby.
At the end of the day, that's what I like about college football, man, is you never know because on any given day or any given weekend, because it's college football, it could be a blowout. You just never know how things are going to roll out. Also, I said I'm going to talk about baseball for a hot second because yesterday we were talking about Blake Snell. Blake Snell, we got traded to the Padres. And last night, the Padres made another major trade. They were able to get Yu Darvish from the Cubs. So now the Padres have been able to add down 2 Cy Young winners in the last 2 days. Now, I'll have to ask you this, Talent, and I know you're going to answer the question. I'm going to ask you this. If the Padres don't win the World Series, would it be a complete and utter failure with all the money that they just about to spend and all the they completely got rid of almost all their future prospects? They leveraged everything right now. Would it be considered a flop if they don't win the World Series?
Oh, absolutely. You took the gamble of all time. It's one thing to add pieces, another thing to add like you said, the young prospects mean you're gearing up for a future. When you make this kind of leap and this kind of depth change and bringing 2 Cy Young winners, you saying you just know you're going to get the chip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with me, I'm a little generous. Most sports dudes and critics say that year, I give you 2. And before I write you off. I give you 2. I give you getting close year 1 and must win season 2. But hey, that's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Fig, when you give away and you basically put up all for the farm, you know what I mean? And I'm saying, especially in baseball, prospects is your gold. You know what I mean? Prospects is your gold. If you give up so much prospect and you don't win, I think people will have your head, but what's your thought process when you hear that obviously the Padres have basically moved in so much to basically say, hey, we got to try to do this?
It's the equivalent in Vegas of pushing all your chips to the middle of the table. You know what I mean? When you bet all of your, your farm prospects and stuff like that, and then you go for 2 Cy Young winners, man, we know you go through the regular season, you go through all your pitching, but when it comes down to the playoffs and the World Series, pitching is what gets you over the hump. If you got those great pitchers, then you can beat anybody. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Pitching over batting any day. So
Yeah,
I would say it's definitely World Series a bust for the Padres right now, man, because they push all their chips to the middle of the table.
they sure did. They push all, and I mean all of them. They push all the chips on the table. I want to talk about the NFL. Right before I was going to talk about the Patriots. The Pittsburgh Steelers made some news, and they are putting what you call Fatburger. They're going to put Fatburger on the bench for this weekend. They want him to get some rest. They're starting Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is getting the start. Ben Roethlisberger is sitting down on the sideline, and they're playing the Rams this week, which is an interesting game because if we recall, the last time Mason Rudolph started for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was the exact same game when there was a big brawl at the end of the game with the club hitting over the head. Now, you guys remember that? It was a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
So we're talking about a huge type of momentum thing that could move in the favor of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm going to ask you this, Talent, before we even jump on, obviously, the New England Patriots game and Buffalo game last night. Do you think Ben Roethlisberger sitting down this weekend and them starting, obviously, Mason Rudolph is something that's going to make a difference for Pittsburgh? Him sitting, what's your thought process when you hear Pittsburgh is even going to make that change? Because, again, and for those of people out there who are watching the show and they're not familiar, only the top seed now get a week off. Everybody else has to play. Pittsburgh lost the top seed. They have to play. They're trying to give Roethlisberger a week or two to see if he gets some rest. What's your thought?
Well, this is Big Ben, Kawhi Leonard. You know what I mean? They're pulling a Kawhi. And here's the thing. If you pay attention, that's kind of smart on the coaching staff because they're giving him his own personal bye.
Yes, exactly.
He's getting a personal bye week before the playoffs, which is some little coaching savvy there. But it's what we complain about in the NBA. The same thing. Now, is that fair? If he beats somebody, the people he beat, what they're gonna say? Well, he had rest. They shot him out a week. Wasn't nothing wrong with him. That's cheating. Whatever you got to do. This is football. This is, like Fig said, this barring boxing, the sport of boxing. This is a gladiator sport. This is the gladiator sport. So it's a game of lumps and bruises, bangs and pops, and they need to rest them. Remember, they got a whole team of doctors and physicians that look at you in practice and be like, "Yeah, sit his ass down this week." Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if we force him to go this week, we don't know what the week after that gonna look like. Sit his ass down. So all they did was give Big Ben, Kawhi Leonard, Roethlisberger a bye, his own personal bye.
Wow. Notice how he slipped the Kawhi Leonard in there. Hilarious. Fig, I will say this. Pittsburgh doesn't lose any seeding. They don't lose anything else, whether they win or lose, they're going to still be there. It looks like right now they're going to have the third seed. I'm saying third seed. Yeah. No, second seed or third seed between them and Tennessee. They're not going to lose any ground regardless right now. So if you Pittsburgh, it makes sense for you to sit down Roethlisberger?
We just said yesterday that Roethlisberger's old. They got him throwing the ball 40 times a game because they don't have any running game. So giving him a little rest, seems smart, but it could be a two-edged sword. Them old dudes, they get rusty quick. He might come out there week after next and need a little oil. They come out there squeaking, all kind of rust and stuff. You got to be careful leaving them old players. You know what I mean? The only one that's probably pissed off right now is Rudolph. Because Rudolph only works one day a year, and that's on Christmas. So,
hilarious.
Rudolph is like, listen, I'm just here to, cheer the guys on from the bench. I don't know why y'all asking me to play.
Well, now we got to get ready to talk about the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills last night were able to sweep the Patriots for the first time since '99, which is a good thing.
Really?
Good thing for the Buffalo Bill fans. I'm sure the Buffalo Bill fans are happy, but let me just focus on one thing real fast. Cam Newton has had his worst season as a pro. Let's be honest, he had his worst season as a pro, and he basically was able to come in and hopefully be able to revitalize his career. Now, the question now is, if you are the New England Patriots, I've been asking this every week for like the last 6 weeks. If you're the New England Patriots, do you bring back Cam Newton? Especially now, you've looked at his whole body of work for the year. You know, you had all these opt-outs. You know, you had injuries. Like literally, half the team last night that played was not the team that started. So you literally can't say, okay, that's them. You know, obviously the Patriots are looking at other players, to see how they were going to do. They basically were looking at it like it was a preseason game, to be honest with you. They knew what they were in, the position they were in. And I think Cam Newton was the same in that same microscope with them basically sitting there judging and taking a look at, this player. So with that being said, all things, if you are Bill Belichick talent, do you bring back Cam Newton for another season? And do you think Cam Newton is even really worthy of coming back for another season? I'm on this also. But you go first, talent. What you think?
Well, we've seen him at his worst and we've seen him at his best. I think if he's still gonna get him on sale, you know how you guys are married. You know how your wives are, baby. It's on sale. If you can get him on sale, yeah, you go get him again because he got better days. In his tank, but you're not gonna go out on a limb and pay any real money.
Right. I can't even disagree with that. I can't disagree with that. Fig, do you think the Patriots bring him back? And do you think he even wants to come back? If he comes back and the Patriots make a move to get another player, Cam's not going to start. You know what I mean? Let's just say out of the crazy thing, they get Carson Wentz. Cam's not going to start. Do you think Cam would even want to come off the bench?
My thing is that you only as good as your options. So saying Cam going to another team, what's his options? Like, who's willing to pick him up? I don't think that he did that bad. I mean, look, the 6 wins that the Patriots gotten so far, Cam was definitely instrumental in helping. And the one thing, we talked about all of the guys that opted out because of COVID. The one thing that we're not taking into consideration is Cam missed about 3, possibly 3.5 to 4 weeks due to COVID. He got it. He was out 1 week. When he came back, he wasn't himself. It took him 2 to 3 weeks to get back. And then the Patriots still won 6 games. Some of the games that they lost, they were even in the game and possibly could have won. So, how bad was Cam without a team? If you're going to treat a guy a certain way, at least give the man a fair shake. He didn't have a team to play with. So I can't crush him and say his career is over. Right. And one thing that I know about Belichick is going to put the best guy on the field. So even if the Patriots get another quarterback, they're going to have to compete for that job if Cam is still on the roster. He's just not going to throw you out there because of your name. You're going to have to compete for that job.
Yeah, I'll say this. Cam Newton and his mechanics look horrible. You know what I mean? Yes, I'll give you that he didn't have any option. He didn't have any wide receivers. He didn't have anything else. The Patriots have a lot of money to work with, so they're going to be able to come in. They're going to be a different team next year. But still, to me, it looked like Cam Newton could not hit the side of the barn. So I'm thinking that the Patriots will probably still bring him in. I think they'll probably still bring him in. But I don't think that, they're going to sit there and say, we rolling with Cam and that's just it, that we rolling with Cam and we're not going to bring in somebody. I think they're going to bring in somebody else and he's going to have to compete with that job. But if he doesn't change his mechanics, I think next year's his last year. Now let's talk about Josh Allen. I'm going to throw this out there. Okay. Josh Allen in 2-3 years has turned into a bona fide MVP. There's no doubt about it. Even though I'm a Patriots fan, you got to sit there and say, you know what? This boy is balling out. Like Josh Allen is a man amongst boys. He does make some crazy decisions all the time, but when he goes to his right or he stands in the pocket, this boy literally is a beast. So with that being said, can Josh Allen be the one to basically topple the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC? Can Josh Allen be the guy to bring the Buffalo Bills and do something that even Jim Kelly wasn't able to do, talent? You think he's the guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he can. I think the Buffalo Bills, period, is the team nobody wants to see. Mm-hmm. They're the team that coming into the season, they're pretty much written off. They're the Bills, whatever. Halfway through, your eyebrow goes up. The right eyebrow goes up like, are they serious? Then 2/3 way through, you're like, they for real. And then after this past game, in the big lights, in the big game, when everybody got it on TV, they shine as bright as they can shine. I think they have solidified the spot that wherever spot they in, nobody want to see him. I think Josh Allen I was talking to my boy Quincy, who we got, the restaurant, and he lives up there in Buffalo. We think they can go to the game.
I'll say this. I think you're spot on. I think Kansas City, the only team the Kansas City Chiefs do not want to face is the Buffalo Bills. That's what I think. Now,
yeah.
And I'm saying that, Fig, because of the simple fact being Buffalo's defense looked phenomenal. Just during the regular season, they looked phenomenal. They looked phenomenal last night, too. They held the Patriots. Even the Patriots' strength is their running game. The Patriots weren't even able to run the ball that well. So, Fig, I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you think Josh Allen could do something in Buffalo that even the great Jim Kelly wasn't able to do?
The jury is still out. I mean, they looked phenomenal last night, but who were they playing? You know what I mean? They were playing a decimated. I'm sorry. I meant
he's telling the truth.
They were decimated. They lost a lot of players and a lot of Pro Bowl players. So, I mean, I saw Cam throw some passes, man, that were dropped. So, you know what I mean? And there was a guy that dropped a touchdown right in his hands. I was like, oh my God. So I mean, they didn't really play anybody last night. They've done well all season. I don't think anybody saw them coming. You know what I mean? I think they went under the radar and just kept winning. I think they are a threat to KC. You know what I mean? You don't want to overlook them. I know that. You're not going to overlook Buffalo. Talent, you up there with Quincy. There's some new spices in that Buffalo sauce. And they got Buffalo winning a lot of games up there, man.
So let me ask you this. Is Josh Allen literally in the MVP conversation? Do you think it's bona fide for him to be in the MVP conversation? What do you think?
I think so. I mean, even though I think that this year, I would not be surprised if this year was given to a running back. But we do have a few quarterbacks in the running. I think he's in that conversation. You know what I mean? I think personally, it's probably going to go to a back. We got like 3 or 4 backs that have been taking us back to the old days when you're running all over the place and teams can win again with the run. We haven't seen teams win with the run in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think though, I'll say this to you, Fig. I think Aaron Rodgers is a lock. I think Josh Allen is in the conversation, but I think Aaron Rodgers is a lock for the MVP. And I think he solidified it this past Sunday. Fig, what do you think? You think Josh Allen should be in the MVP conversation?
Yeah, man, because listen, when a team wins, the credit goes to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they've been winning, you know what I mean? And they're a threat. They're definitely a threat to do it all. I think he's definitely in the conversation. The only reason he wouldn't be on the conversation is because, again, maybe he's flying under the radar. But I think people are standing up and starting to take notice, that these guys are the real deal. And when you think about it, nobody on that team really jumps out as box office. You know what I mean? You don't see like any name stars. Like when you talk about some of the best players in the league, none of them are on the Bills. You know what I mean? Nobody's talking about the Bills team. So it just seems like they're a well-oiled machine on both sides of the ball. And Josh Allen is driving it. So yeah, he should be in the conversation.
Listen, the Bills got in the last 4 weeks. The Bills been on national TV the last 4 weeks. I think the NFL and people around the league are noticing that the Bills is coming, and I think people have got to notice. But I want to ask you. Let's switch gears because yesterday while we were on the air, we were talking about Dwayne Haskins, and we mentioned that Dwayne Haskins got cut, and we also mentioned that Alex Smith he might start this week. I guess the thing is now that we've seen everything that happened to Dwayne Haskins, everything came out, and a lot of it ain't good. But it looks like Dwayne Haskins might have a possible landing spot for 3 or 4 other teams. Talon, do you think Dwayne Haskins should get a chance to be in the NFL, continue to be on the NFL?
I think so. I mean, I think so. In a perfect world, everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I said, when he got cut, I'm like, I was just hoping and praying that it didn't totally just cut him out of the loop. You know what I mean? But even a second chance is nothing if you don't utilize it. You know what I mean? So I think he deserves a second chance. Let's see what he do with it.
Right. Fig, I'm gonna say this to you. Dwayne Haskins gets a second chance. Are you saying it's worthy or not? Now let's let's put the facts out there. He wasn't following the COVID stuff. He was partying a lot. He was hitting the strip clubs. He was causing disruptions on the team. Do you still think he deserves a second chance?
You know, if I crushed every kid Josh Allen's age that has a bunch of money, we'd be in a lot of trouble. He's a young kid, fresh out of college. He's got a bunch of money thrown at him. He's doing what young men do. You know, everybody doesn't have that, you know, that maturity at a young age like that. So yeah, he's a talented young man. So I don't want to throw him away because he made some, you know, some mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, some judgment. Yeah, he made some judgment mistakes. But did he do anything criminal? I mean, we're talking about the NFL. They literally give criminals a second chance. People who have run-ins with the law, drunk driving, domestic violence, all type of stuff, and they give them a second chance. This kid went to a strip club. Now, I know we're in a pandemic, but he went to a strip club. Like, he really didn't even do anything illegal. I mean, he's a young kid. Give him a shot, man, because I mean, why not?
I could dispute that, even though I agree with everything you said. I could dispute that and said, you know, when he went to the strip club, he didn't wear a mask and he got, you know what I mean? He basically just his life. And then he brought, you know, obviously because we're in a pandemic, he brought some of that stuff back to the team. You know what I mean? Not thinking. I could dispute that, but I agree with you. I think he does deserve another chance. I just think his big issue is immaturity. That's what I think his problem is. He's just very young. He's immature. He's thinking like, you know, most kids who are when they're in their early 20s, they want to party, want to have a good time. You can't fault them for that. I mean, honestly, when I was in my early 20s, there's some stuff I did that I'm thanking God the spot I would not.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Thank God for no social media in the 20s.
I'm trying to tell you, like, I thank God for all that because there's a lot of us who'd be hiding right about now about what all. See, so let's move the conversation on, man. I want to talk about a couple of things, and I want to go on with. I'll leave the NFL for a little bit later. Let's talk about the NBA because last night in the NBA, the thing that jumped out at me, man, was John Morant got hurt. This dude was balling out. He scored more points than anybody in the first 2 or 3 games of the season. He was on pace, believe it or not. My Pelican brief was going to be on point. He was on pace to be having the most points in the league so far. So, Talent, what you got to say about that? And Talent, I want you to look at my head when I say it like this. Like, what you got to say about that?
And look at my head. Look at my head. Look at my head. I'm saying, here's the thing, player. I told you before, and I'll tell you again. It's too early. You know, it's a good thing. You know, there's a reason guys like you got married early, right? Because I tell you, man, if you jumped the gun on the first date every time with these women, you guys would be the heartbreaker. If every girl has smiled at you, yo, man, she the one. She the one, T. She the one. She moved to Italy. Yes. You counted that too fast. She smiled at you. You shared a now later. You shared 1 pack of now laters. And she the one. I'm going to get a ring. Where's she at? She moved to Rome. You're moving too fast. I told you it was way too early to say, oh, John Morant, MVP, scoring title, blah, blah, blah. It's too soon. Now, guess what's going to happen when people get injured? They come back and they play tentative. They don't play the same way because they don't want to re-injure themselves. So you start to compensate on different parts of the body. Am I lying, Fig? If you hurt the right knee, that left knee starts to overcompensate to the point where you're going to have a sore left knee.
Yeah.
All right.
I told you. 2 things I told you so. I told you that.
I'm about to put him on mute, Fig, for real. What you got to say, man?
Yo, the now-a-latest analogy was brilliant.
Don't make me put you on mute, Fig.
No. I really like John Morant, and you know, look, it is really early in the season. He did a lot last year. I don't think he hurt his knee though. I think he just twisted his ankle a little bit. You know what I mean? He went up and he came down on somebody. I think he'll be all right. I mean, look, the kid is in his 20s. You know, when you're in your 20s, you bounce back quick. He'll be out for a couple of games. You know what I mean? And I think he'll come back, you know, better than ever. You know, when you're in your 20s, you twist your ankle one day, and 2 days later you back there on the basketball court playing again. So he's a young man, you know what I mean? I think he'll be able to bounce back pretty quickly. I like his intangibles. He's a hard player. He plays defense. He can score inside, outside. He passes the ball. I think he's the entire package. He needs a little seasoning. You know what I mean? He needs a little seasoning. So yeah, I like his potential. Maybe not this year, but in a year or so, I see him possibly being that guy.
Listen, last night, Memphis Grizzlies showed a lot of promise. They beat New Jersey Nets, even though New Jersey Nets without KD and Kyrie, and they show some promise. My question to you, Talent, is it looks like coach is already putting these dudes on what do you call it when you're not playing the games, all the games and everything else? They're already spreading this thing out because they don't want to burn out KD and Kyrie. Now I'm gonna say this right now, Talent. I don't like this in the NBA at all because I'm from the school of when you in the NBA, you play every game because Jordan didn't take it off. You listen. We go down the list of all the old Knicks players, the Bulls players, the Celtics players. Yeah. There's no game off. Literally, we are 4 games in the season, right? The Nets have already lost 2 games, right? Yep. Kyrie and KD is already taking a game off. I absolutely hate that. What's your thought process, Talent?
Well, me and you agree on this, man. We agree on this. This is the ultimate cheat sheet in the NBA. I don't like it. I never liked it. It is a cheat sheet. The terminology is load management, right?
Yeah.
But it's a cheat sheet because you get to do, like, you signed up to play. Your job is 82 games a season. A real season, 82 games. And for you to sit out and play 50 of the 82, you cheated 30 games. So, when you look at the history books, it's not going to show you that. The history books are going to have all these stats that you stacked up, you stat packing, but the people before you who did that, who made those history books, they didn't have that luxury. Magic had to play every game he was healthy. Jordan had to play every game he was healthy. Some with the flu, the infamous flu games. Yeah. All of these players that made these records and put themselves on the levels that they are, whether they're 5th all-time scoring, best three-point shooter, whatever it is, they had to play full-time. This is the NBA. This is not Starbucks or Popeyes where you get a part-time job. This is the NBA. You asked me for $100 million. I gave you that. Play 100 million games. So, you know what I mean? I don't like it.
I don't either. Listen, you can laugh, big. I'm with him. I listen. Matter of fact, I got to give you one of these, Talent, because I'm like, listen, if you play, if you getting paid, you need to play. Period. That's the way I look at it. I ain't paying you all this money. Fig, tell me if I'm wrong. I ain't paying you all this money that I just didn't do that. What do you think?
I listen. You know me. I'm old school. I like old school players. I don't like load management. And I'll tell you this. I think what is happening is the NBA players got some power, and it's a good thing. But I think it's like a little too much. And I think the NBA owners have to get together with the Players Association and reel that back in just a little bit, because these guys are starting to take advantage. I bet you one thing. I bet you in the games that you don't play, you don't get paid. I bet these guys will be playing all games unless they're injured. That's the deal. It's like you don't play, you don't get paid unless you're seriously injured. If you're really injured, then you sit out the game because of an injury, not load management. And I think that if I may be mistaken, but I think the person who started that was Greg Popovich. I think he was the one who really started the load management, but only as his team got up in age and he was saving them, for future games. Now it just seems like it's normal, and I can't compare these players now resting to the players that did it back in the 80s and 90s when they played all the games.
Here's the thing. When the players were doing it in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, they were really injured. They were trying to do that, so they took off these games. These guys now are doing it just to say something. Speaking of load management, the Lakers played last night, and there was concern that LeBron wasn't going to play. But let's look at LeBron, Talent. LeBron came out early and said he wanted to take some games because he thought that, you know what, I'm playing so tight. We just won the NBA championship. The NBA season should start in January and not right now. He didn't take a game off, and I expected him to take a couple games off. He's still playing. And he's nicked up. Let's be honest. He's nicked up. AD's nicked up. A couple other Lakers and stuff are nicked up. They're still playing. They're playing. So right. I'm going to say this to you. Does your opinion change on LeBron outlook right now? Because at the beginning, before the season started, he came forward and said, I don't want to play. I want to do some load management. And the NBA said, we don't want you to do that. And now he's doing it. He said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play. Does your thought process change on LeBron right now looking at him?
No. I mean, LeBron is he's still soft to me. Here's the thing. One thing I got to respect, though. If you're a smart player, right, and you think for a second you may need a little load management, the funny thing about load management, to be honest with you, I could sub the game the way I want to and give you load management.
Mm-hmm.
I could start off with LeBron, 15, 20 minutes a game, take the rest of the night off. Sub them out and don't use them. You got load management. But at least I think it's something different about just saying these guys not playing. Kawhi's off for the night. Paul George's off for the night. Greek Freak, not tonight. I think that's whack for more reasons than one. For marketing, for tickets, for fan base and all that. And again, the job you sign on to do. How many times people go to work, they don't feel good. They go home early. You can sub them out early.
Yeah,
he didn't really feel it tonight. He's tired. Cool. Ref, I need time out. Yeah, tonight. Sit down. And then you just coach the rest of the game. But to make an announcement, I'm taking Tuesday off. What?
Yeah.
Tuesday's my favorite night to watch basketball. Son of a gun.
He's telling the truth. Fig, what you think?
Yo, you know what? You know how guys got load management back in the day? They blew a team out in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's how you get load management. You go out there, you play hard, you blow the team out, you know what I mean? And then you sit on the bench while the bench players come in and finish off the game. That's load management.
Or Fig, or just like the tip off, get a flagrant foul. Get a flagrant
get into a fight and get thrown out. But
that's
see,
load management for your ass.
Now, they not going to do that because that'll cost them money. And they ain't want to give up no money. They want their money. And, that's like, I want my cake and I want to eat it too. Well, you can't have it both ways.
But, Fig, you're right. That if you wanted, when Larry Bird was balling out and the Bulls was balling out, if they were beating you by 30 or 40, they all sat down and they cleared the bench. Matter of fact, they still do it a lot today. The other night, what was it, when the Clippers were losing by 51, the whole back end of that team, back end of the bench was playing. So, and they still beat them by 50, 51. So that's how, that's how you take.
And you know what? And guess what? The team is losing. Your starters don't get the rest. No, y'all go out there and play. You set this up like that. Y'all finish this game out. You getting beat by 50? No, all of the stuff. I want all of the starters out there. Y'all finish this game.
They don't do that, but they should. They should.
Yeah, you should. Why give you a rest? You getting beat like a drum, and I'm gonna let you sit down and rest. Why? What you need rest for? You ain't.
I would treat them like kindergarten. Fig, treat them like kindergarten. You finish your doodle. You doodle good. This is very nice. Go get you a cookie and take a nap.
That's right. That's right.
You don't doodle good, you get no nap.
All right, y'all. Let's get ready to bring in my man, Mr. Rodney Perry, because you know what? It's that time for the segment we call I Disagree. Now, I'm sure we have some things where we agree and I disagree. So, Mr. Rodney, first of all, I hope you had a good Christmas weekend. We ain't seen you in a while. I hope everything was good with you and the family. So now the show is yours. I'm going to get ready to put you on full screen, so don't even get mad. There you go. It's all you.
I had a lot of things I wanted to cover, then you guys went down the road of this whole load management thing. And I want to say this to Talent, respectfully, to Fig, disrespectfully, to Frank, it's not the same. First of all, let's look at this fact. In 1988, Magic Johnson played 70-something games, right? and they've been adding games over the years. Just because the guy makes X amount of dollars, do you manage his health? You do if you got Kyrie Irving and KD, who's been known to not finish a season. Absolutely, you manage their minutes, their time on the court, because you want them to play the real season. How about this? The regular season doesn't matter. The regular season doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it again. The regular season doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why you can load manage. They prove it every year. The person that wins the championship is the person that wins the whole thing, not the person that has a great regular season. So when you start to manage players, because it doesn't matter. Regular season is only to establish the standings for the postseason. The postseason doesn't matter. You won't see anybody low managing in the postseason. I bet you that. The ideal is to get there. And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing teams that are committed to their superstars getting to the postseason. If you don't have to agree with it, Fig still think they should be banging the ball down in the post. But guess what? The 3-point shooters come from the damn tallest man on the court. It's a new league. It's a new way of playing. Y'all don't have to like it. Y'all old. I'm old. Would I like the old days when guys played, on cocaine and white women? Yes. Do I remember the old days when guys would throw women off balconies and was abusive to their children? I would love that league, but it ain't like that no more. I'm old school too, but we have to wrap our mind around the new way of playing. You manage it, you load manage. They don't care about you. Fig, you think they care about your artwork in the background with all the colorful art? They don't care about you. They don't care about your mini blinds, Frank Holder. You think they care about the fact that you have talent? They don't care. It's the NBA. They got to get these tall people. Let me tell you something about tall people. Tall people live shorter lives. Did you know that? Tall people live shorter lives. Why do they live shorter lives, Frank? Because they tall. Mm-hmm. It takes longer for the blood to circulate from top to bottom. So sometimes they got to lay their ass down. Jesus. I get it, guys. We harken for the old days. But guess what? We should have low managed. All of us. We should have passed up a couple of after parties. Stayed at home a couple of times. All the women you had back in the 80s, Frank. Remember them days? Back in the day?
Stop doing that, Rodney. Don't do that to me, Rodney.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna speak for myself. Let me tell you something.
About the mute Rodney Perry.
Let me tell you something, Frank. I had my days I was out in them streets. Yeah. I should have low managed. You don't know, you should have low managed until it's too late. Give these guys credit for figuring it out early enough. Now they can have productive lives. I wish I had low managed. Rodney Perry, I disagree.
Wait a minute, man. Why you go after the man blinds?
They don't care about his mini blinds. You think they care about young talent in the background? Look at young talent in the background. You think they care about that guy?
Nah,
they Carolines ripping the stage. They don't care.
See what I'm saying, Rodney? See what I'm saying? Watch out there, Rodney. Mrs. Holden in the building.
Miss Bernadette, no disrespect, but you know Frank was handsome back in the day.
Oh my God.
Yo, listen, hold on.
He had just got his letters. He was on the yard. He was stepping. He was doing his thing.
Yeah, that
tell me Frank wasn't out there in them streets.
Let's end his segment.
Let me just, yo,
I
hold
say all
on.
that to say this, and I'm gonna close.
Let's end the segment.
I'm gonna say all that to say this. Load management is real.
Oh, God.
And there's a reason for it.
Oh, God.
Especially when you got guys that are injury prone. You must load manage them. Mm-hmm. Now, did load management come back and bite Can't Get Right in the ass last year? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can't Get Right wasn't locked into the game mentally, but how about this? Can't Get Right wasn't right anyway. All the load management in the world couldn't have stopped him from losing his damn mind in the bubble.
Hey, there y'all go. Hey, that's a good point. Hey, y'all, that's Rodney Perry, y'all. What I disagree. Now it's time for me to bring in my man Stacks.
What? Wait, hold up.
What?
Stacks is back.
Stack is back. Stack, you got the floor. Do we say something wrong? Do we do something wrong? We'll give you on the point. There you go, Stack. What do we do right?
Y'all got it together now, man. Y'all, I guess all the weeks of me doing load management, y'all got y'all facts straight.
Okay. All right, y'all. I'm about to mute Stacks, y'all. He came in.
Can I say something, Frank? Listen, I'm a married man. My wife watched this show. I did not know any women before I met her. She was the first woman that I met, and I married her, and that was it. I didn't know anybody else before her.
One pack of now, ladies. The fig was done.
One pack. Tell Rodney Perry we ain't hear nothing he said.
I muted myself on purpose.
Yeah. You muted yourself on purpose. All right, so let me ask you all this. I'm gonna keep the show moving. I'm gonna ask y'all this. The NFL, they just dropped word that they are about to make some changes for COVID. And because they're making changes with COVID, they're going to have what they call a referee on standby. I don't know why they had to make a big announcement for that. I don't even know why they wanted to do that, because honestly, I don't really care if they have an extra referee. I'm going to start with you, Stack, because we ain't seen you in a long time. What do you think the NFL could do if they hit? Because I think they're concerned about coronavirus and COVID and all that extra stuff for the playoffs. And, this is the last week of the season. So they're trying to figure out some stuff to how they could be able to move this thing forward. What do you think that the thought process is?
I mean, I know it's too late, but I think they should have did a bubble for the playoffs, and I think having a extra ref or two is a great idea. I think the NFL doing as good of a job as they can right now. I know normally we trash the NFL, but I feel like they're doing all right with this one. They're making it through the season too.
Big, what you?
I like what Stacks just said. I think for the playoffs, I think it would be wise for the NFL to have a bubble for the playoffs, because that is the worst time of the entire season that you want to lose key players in the playoffs and going towards the Super Bowl. Maybe that would be wise for them to create a bubble simply for the playoffs. So teams don't lose players, key players.
Cameron, what do you think? What do you think about this, Rob?
Well, it's very interesting. First of all, welcome back, Stacks. I'm glad to see you got out, brother. Was you able to go straight home on parole, or you had to go to like a halfway house?
Yeah, I had to go to the halfway house first. Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you nevertheless. Yeah. I agree with both of these gentlemen about the bubble, because what's going to be interesting is if what happens, what we've seen with regular games happen, what do you do? Because the playoffs window is so small, I don't see too many opportunities to make up those games.
Matter of fact, there is no opportunity to make up the game. Let's be honest.
So what do we do now?
I think that, I think the conversation, Rodney Perry, could be if a team like Baltimore gets hit, like how Baltimore got hit, they literally could say, you know what, we're going to have to put whoever we have on the roster out there. Like if 8 people get hit or 10 people get hit with the coronavirus, which
that's what I'm saying.
They're going to put whoever they have on, which could hurt the team in the playoff. What do you think they're going to do, Rodney?
Well, you got to look at what we started at when you posed this question. We was talking about the referees. Mm-hmm. So that says to me that they haven't had to announce those up to this point. Yeah. Like we've seen the teams have to announce who got COVID, who didn't, but the NFL just told us without telling us that these refs been getting sick too.
Right.
And so now we're gonna have another ref on standby for the playoffs. Really, NFL? Really?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Like, do they even have to make a press? Did they have to make even an announcement for that? Did they have to tell everybody that? I don't think they had to.
It might be some legalities attached to it where they had to say something. But I
agree.
Going forward with the NFL and COVID, they got to figure out something because the NFL is committed to making it through the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
They committed to that. They had your man out there, motherfucking sneezing all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't throw the ball downfield because his lungs was compromised.
Yeah.
He's not the only one. These guys is playing tip top, best shape of their life, and they can't run, they can't move. This COVID thing is real, and I think the NFL is just starting to take it serious.
No, really. Did you see what just came out, Frank? I'm looking at the Bleacher Report. What they just said is they can't understand last night's score, so they're hooking all of the Patriots up to ventilators as we speak.
Talent is about to be officially muted for the rest of the show.
I'm mute myself on that just because you said.
Thank you for muting that. Now let me ask you all a question, because when the last game is played on Sunday night, two quarterbacks is going to be literally the hottest topics of the entire offseason. That's going to be Dak Prescott stat and Carson Wentz. Those two guys right there are going to be 1 and 2, neck and neck, for what's going to happen with them in the offseason. So let's make a prediction now, because we're talking about Dak Prescott. We're talking about Carson Wentz. So, Stack, I'm going to start with you. Does Carson Wentz end up being with Philadelphia? And does Dak Prescott stay with the Cowboys? What's your thought process on both of them?
I think Dak stays. I think Wentz goes. I think that Jalen Hurts really has – I don't think he's cemented the starting spot right now, but I think he's really made Wentz look kind of disposable at this point, especially with his injury history. And then I think Wentz is going to get a lot of attention outside of Philly, and they're going to kind of play off the fact that, like, Philly's already got, Jalen, for the future. So, you can come here, we'll give you a long-term deal. It's a fresh start for you. We're going to help you be more healthy. Our doctors got X, Y, Z. So I think Wentz is going to get courted a lot more heavy than Prescott. Prescott just made $30 million in a season. So I feel like Prescott stays in Dallas.
Which is a shame. But Rodney Perry, I'm going to ask you this. Shouldn't Dak Prescott have already been signed by now? And do you think Carson Wentz is literally going to end up being a Philadelphia Eagle when the season starts?
I think Carson Wentz is definitely going to stay in Philadelphia. I heard they're hiring Iskabibbles. And he's apparently a hell of a cheesesteak maker. And other than that, Carson Wentz, I don't even know why we keep even talking about this guy. He's the worst. He's horrible. Like, I don't know how he keeps ending up with us talking about him. I hate to say his name, from whence he came. I hate to say it. I hate him. He's a loser. He's a loser from day one. He had one good season. What do they do to other guys that have one good season?
Rodney, the Bears would take him, and you would have him happily come over there if he come into the Bears. Don't tell me you would.
The Bears is horrible. The Bears is where quarterbacks go to die. I'm a Bear. I love the Bears. Quarterbacks go to Chicago to die.
You would
if he's
take
ready
Carson
to die. Come, Carson.
You would take Carson Wentz tomorrow. So
I would come and I would watch him die in that uniform.
Now, what you think? Carson Wentz ends up being an Eagle, or and Dak Prescott can sign with the Cowboys? What you think?
Well, we are obviously Wentz. The season is over. You get it? Wentz the season is over. I'm gonna tell you right now, and Dak get that contract stacked up because he got to stack it up. I think the talk on Dak gonna go so fast, but the talk on Wentz is gonna linger because I really, really, if I had to put money on it, I don't think he's gonna be an Eagle.
Okay, you don't think?
I don't think he's gonna be an Eagle. I think Dak stays, and I think Wentz goes.
Dak stays, Wentz goes. Okay, Fig, Dak stays, Wentz goes. What you think?
I think because the Cowboys have done so horribly without Dak, I think that that Jerry Foles signs that contract and brings Dak back. And I think next year this time we'll be talking about Carson. He came and then he went.
Oh, okay. I'll leave y'all with this last question. I'll leave y'all with, and I'm gonna switch it over to the NBA. Leave the last question with this. Do you think after last night's performance by the Houston Rockets, I'm start with you, Rodney Perry, and how poorly they did, do you think James Harden is hurting and continuing to hurt his basically his I don't know what you want to call it, his whatever
reputation,
his stock? You think he's hurting his stock? What do you want to, or do you think he's helping his stock? Because Houston's looking worse and worse as the games are going on. What do you think, Rodney?
There's no way he's helping his stock. I mean, this league rewards winners and demonizes losers. Even wanting to get out of there, he needs to win games just to prove that he can still do what he does. Even though we know he's still a scoring machine, but losing them games out there is not a good look.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Stack, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's hurting his stock mainly just from what's going on the court. I mean, we see disgruntled guys all the time. We see people wanting to get traded all the time. But, if you're not still helping your team win while you're disgruntled, your stock's going to go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Talent, do you think he's helping to hurting his stock? Because he's not looking good right now.
No, hell no. He know what he's doing. He wants to do that. He wants to. He want to aggravate his way out of it because they won't give it. When he asked, it didn't happen. You know how you ask somebody nicely. You guys are married. Can you leave this house? I ain't going nowhere. I pay rent.
Kevin, why you go in there? You guys are married. You doing it there real fast.
You gotta because you will understand what I'm saying. Like sometimes
I can understand you without a marriage.
Out of a situation.
I can understand you without a marriage analogy. I'm just letting you know that.
Oh no. But you ain't the only married people. We got
Frank, we all know you ain't going nowhere. Bernadette know you ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going
Miss
nowhere.
Bernadette, don't nobody else want Frank but you.
Rodney said it best when he said Frank used to be a handsome man.
You can't tell me Frank wasn't out there in them streets. He light skinned too. He had Fig having some street. He had Fig at first.
Rodney, you understand his gesture?
Yo, here's the thing. On another note, Talent, how many side chicks does it take to pick up a good wife?
I'm mute.
Here's the thing, Fig. Here's the thing, Fig. When you're not in a relationship, ain't no such thing as a side chick.
No.
or everybody's a side chick.
Yo, man, but listen, get back to James Harden. Listen, James Harden looked like he was hanging out at every restaurant in the United States of America. He was fine dining, drinking beer, hanging out. Yeah. But here's the flip side. He comes back and gets buckets. Like he dropped 44 points, 30 some odd points in like a little bit of time. The one thing that we're going to say about James Harden, he doesn't look like he's in shape. It looked like he got a beer belly and all that stuff like that. But this kid came back and he got buckets.
Yeah, but
and I don't care who you say. You got some. Hold on. You got some guys on their best day that can't get buckets like James Harden. So I don't know whether his stock is up or it's down. But if you need scoring, you going high.
But here's the question. The question is his stock risen or dropped? You got to understand something. For James Harden, he's always scored. So now the next thing people want from him is winning.
Yeah.
Winning.
Yep. I agree. And anything you can do to help the team win, you gotta win. Anyway, that's the show. Talent. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Yo, I'll be at my side chicks joint. I'm gonna leave here, and I'm gonna go from the left side. The right side I do on Wednesday, but on Twitter at It's Just Comedy, follow your boy.
You know something? I would just say this for the record. Why we got him filming? When I pay Talent back, he gonna enjoy this. Like he gonna enjoy it. Rodney, how can they follow you?
Hey man, I'm to find the website. It's RodneyPerry.com. I'm beefing up my YouTube page. Go check out the YouTube Rodney Perry live on YouTube. Man, I got some funny stuff over there right now.
Rodney is on everything, yo. Everything. He on everything. Even on Clubhouse. He's on everything. Zach, tell everybody out there they can follow you.
And catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Stackinova. Also sharing now and latest with your local neighborhood shorties.
I love it.
And that's how you catch a disease. Fig, I tell everybody out there.
Yo, first off, welcome back, Stacks. You can catch your boy Fig on all social media platforms at Comedian Fig. And you can catch me on the box seats Monday through Friday.
Oh, that's a fire mug right there.
At
man.
1 to 2 p.m., baby.
Where my
Frank,
mug at?
Tell them where else they can find us.
We thought you was locked up. We didn't send you your stack. We
Where my
thought you
mug
was
at,
gone.
man? That's all right. That's all right. Wow.
They wouldn't allow no deliveries in prison.
I got you, bro.
I was on the chain gang, bro. I was on the chain gang, man. My fault, man.
Yeah, you know, when they went out, you went out. We know you was coming back. Anyway,
Hey,
yo.
Stack.
I was singing Negro spirituals on the railroad. It's all
Hey,
right.
Stacks, I'll put it in the middle tomorrow, I promise.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, y'all. That's the show. Humor Mill. It's on the Humor Mill channel. The show's called The Box Seats. You can check out The Box Seats every day, Monday through Friday at 1 to 2. It also replays live on the Humor channel at 3 to 4 every day from Monday through Friday. You could download the app. Of course, you could tell a friend to tell a friend, or you could even do the same thing about watching it on an actual channel and calling your cable service provider if you don't have it. Anyway, that's the show. We'll be back tomorrow. This week, I think we might have a short week. We're going to talk about this. Not sure if we're going to do it on New Year's Day. We'll figure all that out. Or New Year's Eve, we'll figure it out. But hey, this is what we got to do. We got to talk about sports. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Take care. See y'all.
Deuces.